Hey, friend. Today we're going to talk about credit. We've been sold, we've been programmed that credit is the only way to be able to win with money or have financial literacy. And that is simply not true. Now, that turns a lot of heads and may piss off a few people because I too was programmed 20, 30 years ago to think that, oh man, 800 credit score is going to give me the best rate. I'll be able to rent anything. I'll be able to get the coolest credit card, um, a good loan on my house, my car, my dirt bike, all the things. I was programmed to believe that I had to get a perfect credit score, 700, 800. The higher it was, the better you were going to be financially winning, right? Boy, was I wrong. And I went so far as to learn that even I had above an 800 credit score, man, that cost me tens of thousands, if not $100,000 in interest to get this fictitious number. And now I'm proud to say that I have a zero credit score. That may upset some of you. And I'm also proud to say I have the most money I've ever had in my bank account with no credit score. Now,
Yeah.
what about you, Jason? What is your view? What have you been programmed and what do you believe now when it comes
Yeah.
to credit?
So I want to point out one that credit, while we talk about build credit, build credit, build credit, credit is not financial literacy. Like Mike was saying, credit is not winning with money. Having a great score, and think about that. They've created a scoring system. And when you have a scoring system, it's gamified. And we know, especially in today's world, when you gamify something, they get you to, I have a better score than you. Oh, you have a better score than me. I need to do something. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to get one more card. I need to get this loan. I need to pay this off quickly. Like all of these different things so that we can gamify it to I need a higher score, a better score, a higher score, a better score. And I can remember this one time when I got a mortgage with a buddy of mine. We talked about this before, the one that I lost $250,000. We were so confident that we had the better score. Like he had the better score or I had the better score. And he was shocked that I had a better credit score. And I was like so proud of that moment where I had a better credit score. It's like this competitive game. And now I look back, Mike, well, like Mike, I mean, that better credit score got me into a house that I lost $250,000 on. Like, is that really worth it? That is not cool. And so we have to learn this the hard way sometimes. And again, we're not going to tell you that you can't ever have a score because you need to buy a house or whatever, right? That's the one thing. Like we say, yes, you probably are dealing with a bank with your mortgage that they look at the credit score, or maybe you have an apartment that you're renting that they look at the credit score. So sometimes those things are quote unquote necessary, but there are ways around it. We can talk about that in another lesson or in our budget and debt elimination course. But my philosophy on is why. I always want to be that 4 year old or that 3 year old or 2 year old or whatever age that you start asking why. Why do we want to do this? Why do we want to do that? Why do I have to go there? So, why do you want a credit score? When it comes to credit, I always ask my clients, they say, I want to build my credit score. I want to get this. I'm like, why? Do you want to just have a score to have a score? Or is it going to do something? And I always say, is it helping you get toward your ideal life or is it hindering from your ideal life? So, that credit score, remember, 30 seconds on credit is not good for anything except to borrow money. Not good for anything except to borrow money, to go into debt. What we're trying to do is get you out of debt because in debt, you're a slave. In debt, you have payments. In debt, you have less money in your pocket. But let's get out of debt, away from the credit score, away from the loans, so that you have more money. That's the whole philosophy behind mine's like, all right, you do what you want to do. But if you're just getting credit cards, personal loans, car loans to build your credit so you can get better credit, so you can get more loans, you're just going to be in this
Mm.
repetitive cycle. And that's not going to get you where you want to go towards your ideal life. That you're just going to have more payments. So that's my philosophy on it.
Yep. I'm with you. I don't have a credit score and I encourage you not to have one either. And you can, like Jason mentioned, in our course, you can find out the details about how you can get a house, rent a car, anything. You can do anything without credit and without a credit card. Specifically, I'll give you a quick example. Um, the biggest rebuttal I get from clients is, "Oh, I the credit card has more protection than my debit card." Well, no, that's not true, right? Meaning that a Visa backed debit card or a MasterCard backed debit card has the same protections. Visa didn't write two different protections when it came to a debit card and a credit card. And real life this year, a few months ago, both L and my cards were compromised. Our debit cards were compromised, and money physically left our account. And it even processed. It went out. They took the money. As soon as I made the phone call to my bank, which is Charles Schwab, big fan of, I made the phone call. They put the money in immediately. As soon as I was on the phone, when they put all of the money back in, a couple $100. Now they do their investigation, and if it was fraud, the money stays. If it wasn't fraud, they find out, then it is on me. But it was fraud both times, and I got the money, and it stayed there. The interesting thing was I was a little nervous because one of the transactions was 3 months old. I didn't see it. And I shouldn't say it. I did see it. I could not make the phone call in time. I had to get back to the US to make the phone call because I was traveling overseas. So it was 2 or 3 months before I made the phone call. As soon as I was on the phone, they went back in time and credited that as well. I thought I was outside of a certain window that I made up in my mind. Nope, not true. They went back and they credited it to me because they knew it was fraud as well. So a credit card and a debit card have the same protections. Now you
Yeah.
get to learn from that, right? We're talking about credit, but I do want to quickly say, what do I want to do to not be in the same situation? Well, I can't 100% guarantee that my card will or my number will not be taken again, but I can be mindful of what website. Where do I type this in? Where do I leave that card? Did I take a photo of a card? Which, yes, I did. I no longer take photos of cards, right? So I'm learning the process of what's going to make sure that this does not happen again for myself.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing, right? That's the biggest thing when we talk about credit and credit cards and car loans and personal loans and lines of credit, right? Again, right back to why. I would just say, okay, let's ask these questions. Why do I want this credit? Why do I want to build this credit? And is it helping me toward my ideal life or is it hindering from? And I can guarantee you, I can't guarantee, but most of the time, the majority of the time, especially, it's actually hindering you from your ideal life. And we're all
Yes.
about living your ideal life. That's what we want for you. We want you to win with money, not win with credit, not win with score, not win with a number, right? Have money instead of loans, right? Again, your life, you do what you want to do, but our job is to help guide you toward here's what is going to help you get toward that ideal life. So do your research, ask the questions, right? Don't do this whole black and white, it's either wrong or right or all the things. Like do what you need to do to live your ideal life, but don't fall for the commercials and don't fall for the marketing of these mega banks and other institutions that make money off of your credit, off of your loans, right? They're using compound interest against you. So that's what I would say is like ask those questions, get your knowledge, and then live your ideal life. Anything else to close out, Mike, for credit and building that credit?
No, I hate debt, and the fewer payments you have, the greater amount of money you get to spend on living your ideal life. So jump into ILMA course material, and we'll see you inside.